Welcome, everyone. My name is Aileen Ionescu-Somers, and I'm the Executive Director of GEM, which is the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. For those who are unfamiliar with GEM, although I think there's a large constituency of people who are familiar with GEM, but GEM essentially is a consortium of national country teams that are primarily associated with top academic institutions, and we carry out survey-based research on entrepreneurship around the world. Indeed, GEM is the only global research source that collects data directly from individual entrepreneurs. So with that in mind, the content today will be a lot about the conclusions that we can reach as a result of collecting our data on specifically today entrepreneurship education. But at the same time, GEM is an organization that has data on many different levels in terms of how entrepreneurs are perceiving the opportunity around entrepreneurship, what their intentions are, what their activities are, and we also carry out research on the national context for entrepreneurs and how conducive that national context is to promoting entrepreneurship. Okay, I'd like to welcome our guest speakers today. The first person who will speak is Dr. Stephen Hill. He is the main coordinating author of our global report, which is, I would say, our Bible that we update every single year with the results of the research annual cycle. So welcome, Steve. And then I would also like to welcome Dr. Abdullah Mohammed Alshukaili, who is the head of the Entrepreneurship Center at the University of Nizwa in Oman. And he will present a very interesting national level case. Steve will give you a little bit of an overview. And so I'm going to immediately hand over to Steve so that he can start showing you some interesting slides. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Aileen. Can I just check you can hear me? All good? Okay. I'd like to say hello from Cardiff, where the sun is shining, which is very nice because it's been in hiding the past few months. I also should make it clear that I'm not an expert on entrepreneurial education, but what I have been doing for the past 5 years is to look in detail across the GEM results. So I've looked at all the countries each year, and one key fact stands out. Most economies score pretty poorly for entrepreneurial education, especially at school. Now that we have many years of GEM data, we can start to make inferences and to draw conclusions. But before I do that, I just want to mention briefly the GEM methodology. If I can have the next slide. Thank you. At the heart of GEM, as most of you know, there are two surveys. The adult population survey asks a random sample of at least 2,000 adults in each country about their attitudes and experiences of entrepreneurship. The National Expert Survey complements this. It's a much smaller survey of at least 36 identified national experts in each economy who are asked to assess a series of statements about 13 carefully defined entrepreneurial framework conditions that altogether characterize the entrepreneurial environment. The slide shows the actual statements that are concerning entrepreneurial education that were asked of those national experts in 2023. First about school and then about college or university. Each expert judges each statement on a scale from 0, completely false, all the way up to 10, which is completely true. these collective assessments are transformed through a factor analysis into a single score for entrepreneurial education at school and for entrepreneurial education post-school, which for the sake of brevity, I'll call entrepreneurial education at college. But it's college, it's universities, it's higher education institutions and further education institutions. So each of those entrepreneurial framework conditions is given a score, including the 2 education and training conditions. The score is between 0 and 10, and we regard a score of 5 as satisfactory. If it's less than 5, it's not actually satisfactory, and if it's more than 5, it's better than satisfactory. Okay, let's have the first slide showing these results. This is the position for entrepreneurial education at school for 2023 National Expert Survey. 49 economies took part, grouped by income, and we called these C, B, and A. The level C income is a GDP per capita of less than $25,000. The level B is between $25,000 and $50,000, and the level A is $50,000 or more. Fairly clearly, the scores improve a bit with income, but not by much. Now, a moment ago, I said that a score of 5 is satisfactory. 5 or better can be regarded as satisfactory. Only 5 of these 49 economies achieved a score of 5 for entrepreneurial education at school. These 5 countries were India from Group C, Estonia from Group B, and the Netherlands, Qatar, and the UAE from Group A. The important thing about this picture is that little orange line I've drawn across at the bottom. 27 economies scored 3 or less, including 14 economies scoring less than 2.5. The poorer economies are more likely to score badly. There are 6 of those 14 from level C, but there's also 7 from level B and 1 economy from the higher income group, and that's France. Finally, on this point, entrepreneurial education at school ranked last of all 13 entrepreneurial framework conditions in 30 out of the 49 economies. And this is why we're having the seminar today. This is why I'm concluding that entrepreneurial education at school in far too many economies is fairly poor. Can we have the next slide, please? This is a slightly brighter picture because this is looking at entrepreneurial education after school, post-school. So this is colleges and universities. Only 1 economy scored less than 3, which was Iran, although Poland and Israel came close. Here, 22 economies, or 45%, achieved a satisfactory score of 5 or more. Once more, the scores generally improve with income. However, the score is more likely to be less than 5 if you're in level B than if you're in level C. So level C economies scored well at entrepreneurial education at the college level, including India, including Colombia, and also Guatemala. Ukraine scored as satisfactory despite the very difficult conditions there. There is some correlation between, there's some correlation between the score at school and the score at college or university. The correlation coefficient is 0.782. So if you score well with entrepreneurial education at school, you're likely to score well with entrepreneurial education at college. Okay, so that's the overall picture. The next 2 slides show some selected examples of what's happened to those scores over the past 6 years, since 2018. The first picture on the left-hand side looks at 3 economies in what I've called old Europe: Germany, Spain, and the United Kingdom. There's a clear division here between entrepreneurial education in college, the top 3 lines, and entrepreneurial education in school. And there's some indication that those school scores are declining. The second part of this chart shows 3 Gulf states and gives us a very different picture. Now there's less distinction between college and school scores, and there's a strong indication that those scores are improving. Can I have the next one, please? Here on the left-hand side, I've looked at 3 Asian economies: India, Iran, and Israel. All show a dip corresponding to the pandemic in 2021. The Indian scores are generally getting better. The Iranian scores are generally getting a bit worse. And the scores for Israel are up and down. The second half of this chart looks a bit like old Europe. It looks at 3 Latin American economies. Again, there's a clear gap between school and college scores. We've got Colombia scoring high for college, but school scores are deteriorating. Brazil scores much better for college than for school, and Chile is pretty similar. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, what I've done here is take a longer term view. So to look at the scores in 3 different years, looking at 2013, 2018, and 2023. The slide shows all of those economies that took part in all 3 years, and that's 31 economies. But we've also considered all of the economies that took part in any of those years. For these 31 economies that have got scores for each of the 3 different years, there's only 4 occasions where that score is greater than 5. That's India in 2023 and the Netherlands in all 3 of those years, 2013, 2018, 2023. Both of those countries show scores increasing in each period, as does China, also Greece, only just, but also Korea and Luxembourg. But there's a number of countries where the scores for entrepreneurial education at school have actually declined in each of those periods. A large number of countries. Let me list them. There is Brazil, Guatemala, Mexico, Colombia, and Thailand, all from level B. There's Uruguay, Israel, Argentina, and Latvia from Group B, and there's France and Germany from level A. Okay, next slide, please, Clement. This is the same position, but for schools, but for entrepreneurial education in college. Now, for these 31 economies, each of which has got scores for 3 different years, there are 36 out of the 93 occasions when the college score was satisfactory or better, including all 3 years for Guatemala, Colombia, and Mexico, all 3 years for Puerto Rico, Argentina, and Uruguay, and also the Netherlands and for Switzerland. The scores increased in each period for Brazil, India, Puerto Rico. The scores decreased in each period for Uruguay, for Brazil, Israel, and for Thailand. And I've tried to sum these up in the next slides. The first one, this is the position for entrepreneurial education. And now we're not only just talking about those 31 economies that participated each year. If you look, you'll see there are 69 economies participating in 2013. There were 54 in 2018, and there were 49 in 2023. Altogether, there's more than 80 different countries in these slides. The number of economies scoring less than 3 for entrepreneurial education at school has increased. It's increased from 16 in 2013 to 27 in 2023, or from less than a quarter, 23% in 2013, to well over half. And there are 55% in 2023 scoring less than 3. However, the number and the proportion scoring less than 4 has actually declined from nearly 9 out of 10 in 2013 to 3 out of 4 in 2023. So while the number of economies where entrepreneurial education in school is regarded as satisfactory or better remains low, the proportion where it is satisfactory or better has actually increased from the 3% to just over 10%. The key message, however, from this slide, I think, is that entrepreneurial education in school scores very poorly in a quarter of economies in 2013 and more than half of economies in 2023. If we go to the next slide, the position for colleges is much better. Very few score less than 3. Around 1 in 10 score less than 4. The percentage scoring 5 or more has improved over time, from just under 40% in 2013 to around 45% in 2023. However, there's still no room for complacency. More than half of economies, entrepreneurial education in school was regarded as less than satisfactory in 2023. So it's better than entrepreneurial education at school, but there's still considerable room for improvement. Okay. My next slide, names and shames. Firstly, for entrepreneur education in school, 5 economies have got expert scores that have increased in each of the periods 2013 to 2018 and 2018 to 2023. India, China, Korea, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. But there are twice as many economies where scores have decreased in both periods from all income groups. And that while low income may be an excuse for low scores, there's little justification for those scores declining over the past decade. Okay, I've nearly finished. Next slide, please, Kevin. A bit brighter for entrepreneur education at college and universities, at least 7 economies where expert scores increased each period, but also 4 economies where scores declined each period. Note that for India, for Korea, and the Netherlands, both entrepreneurial education at school and entrepreneurial education at college improved their scores in each of the periods. Well done to them. However, for Uruguay, for Brazil, for Israel, and Thailand, scores for schools and scores for colleges both declined in each of those periods. Okay, next slide, please, Kevin. Okay, this is the penultimate slide and tries to sum up where we are or where we've got to. For every participating economy in 2013, 2018, and 2023, entrepreneurial education in school scored lower than entrepreneurial education in college, and that's more than 80 different economies. In the most recent results, 2023, there were 3 economies where entrepreneurial education in school was the only framework condition rated as less than satisfactory. And those three economies were Lithuania, Korea, and Saudi Arabia. In recent years, the Gulf states have generally improved their entrepreneurial education scores, so too have India and China. However, some European and a few Asian countries have seen their education scores decline recently, especially for school. Now, the final slide, which is the next one, has nothing to do with those numbers. This is just some ideas from me. And these ideas may have little merit, but it seems to me these are the obvious ways to improve entrepreneurial education. Kids have got to be introduced to creative ideas, opportunity recognition at an early stage. There has to be some relationship between local entrepreneurs and schools. Teenagers should know how markets work, and all college students need to have at least one module about running a business. But an interesting question, are teachers the best people to deliver those modules? Finally, and this is a final thought, does this all matter? I think the answer is a resounding yes. I think it matters a great deal that in 2023, entrepreneurial education in school was rated by many countries' own experts as very poor. And finally, we can never count the businesses that don't exist because kids were not exposed to the idea that they could start their own. Okay, thank you for listening.
Thanks so much, Steve. Very interesting. Before I hand over to Abdullah, I just want to say one thing, because I saw on the Q&A that there were some questions about individual countries that were not appearing in your slides. And I have to be clear here, this is not a representation of all countries in the world by any means. We are only presenting the countries that are part of GEM and that have participated in the research in the years that Steve has picked out to analyze. Okay, and so, you know, if there are countries missing like Finland, Turkey, this is the reason why. At the same time, I would like to appeal to anyone who's interested in a particular country and is not finding that country in our research here. It could well be that the country is right now on pause because they are having difficulty finding funds to fund the research. And so we'd be always very interested in hearing from anyone who may be interested in forming a team. We have about 60 teams for now at GEM, and this year participating in the research from those 60 teams will be about 55 teams. So can you maybe put a team together? That's a question for you. The second thing that I wanted to ask is that in the chat, you share with us any ideas that you may have or links that you may be able to point to for best practice in entrepreneurship education, particularly at school level. And also, I have a question for you. So we have been trying for years, literally, to impact policy as regards entrepreneurship education. There's nothing better than data for that. We have been presenting, you know, it's mostly governments that fund GEM. And we don't seem, it really does appear that except in exceptional cases, we don't seem to be moving the bar on entrepreneurial education at school. Why do you think that is? There are other areas that, you know, governments have intervened and really our research has contributed to impacting policy in that regard. But entrepreneurial education at school remains a little stagnant, you know, and even has, as you have seen from Steve's figures, it's actually going backwards in some cases, you know. So why do you think that is? Can you share any ideas you have in the chat as well? So your best practice ideas, and also why do you think we're not moving the bar? And with that, I hand over to you, Abdullah. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Aileen. And thank you as well, Steve, for that briefing about the entrepreneurship education based on the GEM report. As I am also a team leader of Oman GEM report, so we are working at University of Nizwa. The University of Nizwa is the representative of Oman GEM report. This university is a model of non-profit private university, and it was established in 2004. Currently, the university has more than 6,500 students, and they have delivered different kinds of programs for bachelor's and master and PhD programs. And now it is ranked as 61 in the QS for the Arab universities as well. It is the first in Oman in the Nature Index. And exactly if we move to the second slide, please. If we look to the Oman GEM report, key finding, we can see that Oman is among the 50 economies who have participated in 2023 in the GEM. They are the first. So the intention within Omani to be entrepreneurs is the first amongst the other participants in the GEM. And if we can see also for the capability perceptions, that Omanis, they have this capability exactly to recognize the opportunity, and they have the capability exactly to transfer that intention to entrepreneurial activities. Although that the fear of failure has been reduced in 2023 in comparison to 2022, but this will also give an indication that Oman is also, they know about the risk of starting the business. So the main idea why I highlight these things, because these kind of attitudes and perceptions are very important when we designing any entrepreneurship education curriculum. And this is all for both for the school and for the college. And sorry, if we can move please to the second slide. And see, for the entrepreneurship education curriculum, I think I'm going to talk about this is based on the university level, and based on different theory, we can say that they have looking for the innovation. As we know, all of us, that innovation and entrepreneurship have been claimed as a major drivers for economic growth, and that means we need entrepreneurship education in order to help this generation to establish businesses that have an impact in the social, and also as well they have an impact in the economy. And based on the theory of plan theory, we have seen that we need to see about different components like know why, which is looking about the attitudes, value, and motivation. So once we prepare any education, entrepreneurship education curriculums, we have to look to these kind of things, these factors like know why, know how, and know who. It's about the social impact or the human capital impact. As well, we need to look about the knowledge, what kind of knowledge we are going to deliver in this entrepreneurship education. And for the case of Oman, we can see that in Oman started in 2014, 2015, in this academic year, all of the higher education institutions in Oman, they are requested to offer one course, which is called Entrepreneurship, Creativity, and Innovation, as a university requirement to all students. Those students, they are coming from different majors. Any students from health and science, or any students from art, from business school, from different kinds of disciplines and majors, they have to study this course in entrepreneurship. The aim is to promote the culture of entrepreneurship among these students, and to have, in order also to have the idea and the culture of being what self-employment in the future, and be able exactly to start a new businesses, and they have an impact in the economy and society as well. If you can please move to the next slide. Yes, and I would like to highlight about one of the courses that we have at University of Nizwa. It is one of the requirement courses. It's called Entrepreneurship, Creativity and Innovation, and it is 3 credit hours. So we have divided into theory part, which is 2 credit hours, and 1 practical part, which is 1 credit hour. The weekly contact hours for the theory class will be 2 hours per week, and for the tutorial class will be also the same 2 hours per week. That means these 40-hour contact hours is being divided between the theory part and the practical part. And we try to help the students in order to develop their business plan and to select a business idea. So starting from generating a business idea and moving to how to find the opportunity and how to spot or create a new opportunity which is already available in the market. So since those students, they're coming from different majors, so we have first of all to give them some briefing about introduction to entrepreneurships and what are the contemporary trends in entrepreneurships, how to find opportunities, the relationship between creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurships, and what are the interrelated between these 3 concepts between them. And we try exactly to help the students how to prepare the feasibility study. And lastly, they have to prepare a business plan. And in the end of the semester, they have to pitch their business idea and to discuss this business idea with other team members, faculty team members. And we exactly around 1,000 students every year, they are taking this course. And this course exactly is one of the important courses of the students, especially they promote the skills of entrepreneurship, innovation, and self-employment. And the good thing is that most of the students, once they have this idea and after they graduating from the university, some of them, they are interested to start their own businesses. If you can please move to the second slide. We have also another course, which is only just for the business students who are studying in our College of Economic Management and Information System. And this is called Entrepreneurships, and it is 3 credit hours. And this course is more specialist for students for business, and it has a lot of practice based on the different theory of entrepreneurships. And the students, they know how to prepare the business model, the framework, how to find the funds. And in this course, also, we try to link the students about the impact of the entrepreneurships in the economy and what are the public policy that they can enhance and promote entrepreneurships in any context. And the main things is we try to help the students how to generate their entrepreneurial mindset. As well, we help the student using some new methods like design thinking, lean method, and we try to explain to students how to implement those kind of new techniques in order to establish their startups and businesses. Can you please move to the next slide? And we are planning in the coming semester to open a new program which is called minor in entrepreneurship. So the student, they can take a bachelor's in business administration, for instance, or in marketing, in management, in operation management, and then they can take a minor in entrepreneurship, which is 15 credit hours. And this is the list of the courses that we are planning to teach the students in this minor, and this is based on the benchmarking as well in the new trends of entrepreneurship. like social entrepreneurship, digital and social media marketing, entrepreneurial finance, and some issues in entrepreneurships. And we are going to use the finding from the Oman GIM report in order to highlight about some new topics that we can also teach to the student in these new measures. Please move to this. And these are some of the entrepreneurial mindset, and this based also on the national level in Oman, and also based on the 21st century skills. So we try exactly to enhance these kind of skills for the students, and this they can enable the students to identify the opportunities and how they can implement the creativity and innovation in their study at the university, and how they can also plan for the future. So this kind of entrepreneurial mindset, and this is one of the chapter also we have in the in Oman National GIM report, which we highlighted about the entrepreneurial mindset for Omanis who are who are included in the adult population survey. Kindly please move to the next slide. And at University of Nizwa, we established the Entrepreneurship Center. This was established in 2019, and we focus about 4 main categories about education, research, capability building, and as well for the community engagement and collaboration. And we have different kind of tasks, and these activities exactly enhance and promote the entrepreneurial culture inside the university camp. We are doing different kinds of activities which can also promote these kind of skills for the students. Please move to the next slide. And for instance, we have we sometimes we invite guest speaker, and some of those are entrepreneurs who have some successful stories, and to invite them to the university, especially for those students who are study the university requirement. As well, we have doing some encourage the students to participate in many events locally and also in some international conferences, competitions as well. We have to arrange some field visit workshop. So this is we can also promote the non-class activities for the students in order to promote the culture of entrepreneurship. And we have the incubation unit, and in the incubation unit exactly we provide some different kind of services like the office space, as well for the consultation, mentorship. We help the students how to prepare their prototype, as well how to connect them with the network and the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Oman. And this incubator will help them also as well to establish their business and to be ready to transfer to the market. Okay. And these are the most of the activities we are participate, and we are planning exactly also to participate with the other global events, for instance, for the Global Entrepreneurship Week. So we are participated every year in the Global Entrepreneurship Week, and we have many of the students, startups and students business idea, they are participated in this Global Entrepreneurship Week. As well, we have one program with the Ministry of Higher Education, which is called the Scientific Incubator Program. So we are helping those faculty researchers and the students who have an innovative ideas, as well who have an research outcome, in order to transfer and to commercialize their business idea to the market. As well, we have the graduation project program, which is help the students to transfer their graduation project to the market. As well, we are planning this year to participate in this global event, which is called the Startup Weekend, which is like a hackathon. And we are planning to do it for our students as well, in order and to connect them to the industry, to see what is the industry, what they want, and through those students and they can promote. And it cannot be without having some good skills and knowledge, and through the entrepreneurship education. This is all what I have, Aileen, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Abdullah. Look, it's really fascinating to see what's happening in Oman. I had the pleasure of going to Oman last year with my colleague Alicia Corduras, who is responsible for the National Expert Survey. And we met with stakeholders from the ecosystem in Oman, and it is an extremely dynamic ecosystem at the moment.
Yeah.
What you might have realized listening to Steve's slides also is that the Middle East is on the move big time where entrepreneurship is concerned. And it's, I think, the only area where entrepreneurship education at school is actually going up. Was that correct, Steve?
That's pretty
Yeah.
close. But
Yeah.
apart from Netherlands gets an honourable mention.
Quite correct, yes. And I've been reminded by someone who is representing Finland on the chat that Finland is probably very high up too in terms of entrepreneurial education at school, but we didn't actually show any data on Finland today. We have some past data on Finland though, for that person who commented about Finland, because we had a team up until I think 2021. 2022, around then, but not on a continuous basis, I should say. Abdullah, I've been asked whether you use the business model canvas.
Yeah.
You do?
Yes, we use exactly a different business model, and we use the Canvas business model as well. We use the Lean business model. So also that we ask the students to prepare the business model for their business ideas and business startups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, there are some other comments on the chat. Actually, we have realized that the chat is disabled. So please feel free to go to the Q&A to make any comments, you know, on A, best practice, and also B, the question, why do we have such difficulty moving the bar on entrepreneurial education at schools in particular? We have some very interesting comments about the UK and on the Q&A, which I hope I'll have time to get to in a moment. But you know, all of your comments will be collated and we'll make sure that you get those. And by the way, I think we can also share the slides, right, Steve and Abdullah, from today. Is that okay to share the slides as well as the recording?
Aileen,
yeah.
Can I make a point about data?
Yes.
Right. There are lots of questions about individual countries.
Mm-hmm.
The point I want to make is that all of the data, every number I've used today, is freely publicly available. All right. I simply went to the data section of the GEM website and I downloaded it. It's very easy, very simple. Congratulations to Alicia and Francis, because it's really easy to use. Everything I've used today, publicly available. And if you want to know if your country participated, that's probably the best place to start.
Okay, wonderful. So, you know, for those who asked questions about particular constituencies in particular countries, you can go to our site and download the data. What you will not be able to download is the last 3 years of data, because obviously this is a benefit for our GEM community who join us. You know, they have to share that data in their own constituency every year. But everything that is older than 3 years, you can download. So I think we want to go next to another very interesting example, which I myself am based in Switzerland. I can say that Switzerland is no exception as regards entrepreneurship education at school. However, there's some wonderful examples at the third level. And we are going, and that's at the third level. And, you know, the University of Fribourg, which is where our GEM Switzerland team is based, have been reaching out to try and impact also younger people, you know, so that they actually come into the university environment with more of a notion of education. So this is a short video made for us by Raphael Gaudart, who is the head of our Swiss team. It's about a week-long immersion into the world of entrepreneurship for teenagers, and it's sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce in Fribourg, Switzerland. It's an opportunity for students to meet with entrepreneurs and see the ecosystem. And I'll go right now. I think Kevin is going to show you the video that Raphael produced.
School of Management in Fribourg. I'm happy to present you in a few words our concept, the ADOpreneurs, which is actually nothing else than a youth camp that we started almost 8 years ago. It's actually that the GEM data showed us that we have a lack in entrepreneurship at primary school. So we have decided then we need to change something. We need to change the mindset. We need to change, or we need to motivate younger people to become entrepreneurs. Maybe not become entrepreneurs, but at least have an entrepreneurial mindset. Unfortunately, the traditional school system, I wouldn't say that it fails, but it doesn't give a lot of space to entrepreneurial topics. So that's why we came up with this idea. Means we invite between 10 and 15 younger students or younger generations, actually youth, to come here to the School of Management and spend a week with us, where we have time to develop their own ideas. They can develop their own ideas. They are coached. We invite companies, entrepreneurs, to also expose the younger generation to real entrepreneurs. So this is here one location where we can work together. You see the material is already here. We have some brainstorm. We will, of course, prototype a lot. Students will have also the support of the engineering school, which is just across the street. So we are here in our co-working space, which is currently empty. But in a few weeks, there will be a bunch of younger students, younger generation, who creates idea, who pitch their ideas to medias, to their parents, but also to the coaches, serial entrepreneurs. And that's how we see this ADOpreneurs. So it's amazing to see their evolution from day 1 to day 5, about their achievements, how they perceive now entrepreneurship, and how we light up the curiosity in the eyes of this younger generation. And it's really fun for us also that we are so grateful at the end of the week when we see the shining eyes of this younger generation after this amazing week. So a short glance to the program, it's always mixed between company visits, entrepreneurs that come here, present their business idea, and our students who can realize their own dreams by building prototypes, pitching to different people, and exercise. So this year again, great entrepreneurs who will come. As I said, I'm really curious, and we'll see what the end is. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
So thanks, Raphael, who's unfortunately was not able to be with us actually on Zoom today, but I think that was a very informative video about the activity that they have at that Atelier Fribourg has. I actually have a few questions, Abdullah, about impacting government policy, and I've been asked, what are our ideas for actually transforming things? And I have already replied to one person saying, well, we're not prescriptive, actually. We don't come along and say to governments, well, this is what you should do, right? But Abdullah, how do you manage that interface, to impact government, but at the same time, not be too prescriptive about it?
Yes, exactly. We try to engage with the government and to have discussions with them. And I have a good experience. So last year in 2022, when we published the Oman GEM data, the government have has noticed that the entrepreneurship education in Oman was a little bit low than it was expected. Then the policymakers has contacted us, and they come to visit us and to discuss why and why we have like this kind of score, why although that the government has done a lot of things. And so we try to explain to them different kinds of criteria that we use in order to evaluate the entrepreneurship education. So I think, Aileen, it's important to engage with and to collaborate with the government, especially with the policymakers, and try to be with them in some committees. And if we can establish our structures, any committee among the government. For instance, we have one committee now with the Ministry of Education, and I am a member in that committee, and we help the government in order to design curriculums for the school and how to implement entrepreneurships skills, knowledge. So we try to focus on that, and also we try to explain to the government about some. We have done a benchmarking with some international countries which has a good in education for school, and we try to bring that ideas and to discuss with them about how to implement that. So instead, as you mentioned, to just write research paper or to highlight an essay or in the media, try to engage with the government and try to influence in some way. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. That's a really comprehensive answer.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the Q&A, and we just have one interesting, well, several interesting comments, but I'm just going to read one out right now, which is, why do we have difficulty moving the bar on entrepreneurial education in schools? One possible reason is the budgetary pressure on the school system, forcing them to narrow their focus and exclude topics that they do not regard as core to the curriculum. Oman's approach of making entrepreneurship education compulsory is laudable, but I suspect might be unaffordable to adopt a similar approach at school levels in many countries. Any comment on that, either you, Steve, or Abdullah?
I don't buy this, actually. I don't understand why so many economies can do so well in terms of infrastructure, availability of services, and so badly for education. Is it not a priority? Do they choose to spend their money on motorways rather than entrepreneurship education? I specifically outlined 3 economies where everything else was rated as satisfactory or better. The only framework condition that was less than satisfactory was entrepreneurship education in schools.
Yeah.
It's priorities, it's political choice. Yeah. It's not really resources.
Yes, and I think, Abdullah, you brought up a really interesting slide, which was the slide pointing to the skills required for the future.
Yeah.
Now, I know, and you know, and many of the academics know, that there has been a lot of research done on what kinds of skills are needed to face the, very extensive changes in technology, etc., that we have in today's world.
Yeah.
And so it behooves the school systems to start asking themselves questions as to whether they are transmitting those skills specifically, because maybe the skills of the past aren't really the skills necessarily of the future. And and it's becoming an urgent issue, I would think.
Yeah.
What do you think, Abdullah?
Yes, see, now we have for this new generation, what you call the Z generation, and this is based on the technology, and they are much influenced by the technology change. And if we look to the political, economic, social changes, many changes we have nowadays, and we have to adapt to these changes. And these changes we cannot adapt if we only just implement the entrepreneurship education as a requirement only just for the students at university or college, no, we have to start from the school.
Yes.
And
early stage.
I think in some countries they only just implement the curriculum of entrepreneurship at school just for some classes, maybe in class 10 or class 9. But this is not the right way. I think we should start it from the beginning, from class 1, and let the
Right.
students even from the preschool level, we have to give the students different skills how to be an entrepreneur. So because changing the mindset of students at college and university would be very difficult. So I
Yes.
think if we change this mindset from the beginning, from the school level, it can be easily. Then we wait to the university stage. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And we're actually running out of time. Do you
Yeah.
have a last comment to make, Steve or Abdullah? Yeah.
See,
I think you probably made your last comment, Abdullah, because you really made a pitch for that early awakening where entrepreneurial education is concerned. So maybe Steve, yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy to look for obstacles, to look for things that prevent entrepreneurial education in school improving. Resources are always important, but they are across the board. I explained that I understand that poorer countries may struggle to provide quality entrepreneurial education in school, although I will point out that India and Colombia seem to do it very well, despite that lack of resources. I really think it's about choice, and it really is time we said enough. It's time to get this right.
It's time for change.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess it remains for me to thank you very much, Steve and Abdullah, and virtually Raphael, for having joined us today and sharing the data, the best practices, and your opinion. Really appreciate that. We will ensure that you get the recording and also the slides, and we will try and collate your answers and your inputs as regards that fundamental question, which is, why are we not able to move the bar on entrepreneurial education? So last message is, a few of you have said, how can I join GEM? Well, in fact, GEM works with national teams, not with individuals, that bring the requisite skills and can seek funding to take part in GEM. And we try and assist as much as possible, but actually it's the national team who seeks the funding. And if you contact us on info@gemconsortium.org, we can immediately share with you how you can become a member of GEM. As I said, it's not for individuals, it's for countries. We have a national team in each of the countries that we work with. It's also, even if we do have a national team, it might be interesting for you to form a partnership of some kind with the national team that exists. So don't hesitate to be in contact. And so thank you very much for your presence today. Really appreciate it. So many of you. As I said, we had 160 on the call, on the Zoom. Not on the Zoom, we had about 50 at one stage on the Zoom, but 160 that will receive the recording. So have a very good rest of the day. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.